Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Justin, and this is Horsepower Obsessed. Alright guys, so we've all been wondering what this car is going to finally look like once we see the official reveal. And honestly, I highly doubt it's going to look like many of the renderings we're seeing right now. There is that user on the Corvette forum who says he can basically guarantee that those renderings are completely wrong on the side of the car and pretty close on the front and the rear. So basically that side scoop and the whole side design of the car is incorrect. Now, that is pretty likely based on what GM has let us see so far and some of the other past manufacturers testing their car before production. So specifically Ferrari. When they were testing their LaFerrari around the track and getting times and everything for that particular car, they were testing something that looked absolutely nothing like the final product. Now, this information actually comes straight from the mid-engine CorvetteForum.com. Like I've said 100 times, they're great over there, and when I saw this posted, it literally blew my mind. The LaFerrari, while they were testing it, looked like this. And then for those of you who don't know, the final product looked like this. As you can see there is a huge difference between what they were testing and what the final product looked like. Now, they probably had a pretty good idea of what that final product was gonna look like, but they didn't want anybody else to see it before it was actually revealed. Now, of course, GM is likely not going to that extreme. I'm simply showing it just because it could be something that they would be doing. Other manufacturers have been known to do this, obviously with Ferrari doing it. It's not that abnormal for a manufacturer to want to cover their final design until the official reveal. In the case of the C8, we think that they are adding pieces onto it to make it look boxier, make it look more bloated than what it will finally be. But in Ferrari's case, they seem to have stripped everything off of that car to make it look like a simple go-kart almost. Essentially, all they really need to test that car to its fullest ability is all of the internals. So the engine work, the transmission work, all the electronics on the interior, and then to add things or remove things from the exterior to make it look completely different, but basically give it a similar aerodynamic design. So when they're testing it around the track, or just testing to make sure that there will be no early failures, all they really have to worry about is maintaining the car's weight, the same or similar aerodynamic specs, and all of the internals that we can't see anyway. So in the end, it doesn't really matter if the car looks exactly like it's going to on reveal day while it's on the track, because that's not really what they're out there testing. They don't care how the car looks, they just want to make sure everything's going to work right, and they want to hit a certain time or see exactly what kind of time it can hit. Ultimately, in the end, what I'm saying is odds are very good. We're not going to get a car on reveal day that looks anything like some of the renderings we've been seeing. I think Chaz Cron has done a fantastic job with the renderings based on what we've seen covered by camo, but GM is hiding the actual design of this car. And stuff like this, whenever I see things from Ferrari that have done it and other car manufacturers that have done the same kind of thing, pretty much guarantees this car is going to look different on July 18th. That's not a bad thing as far as I'm concerned. I think the car looks pretty great from the front, but the side and the back view really don't do a lot for me. So I am very anxious to see this car in the flesh because I have a feeling it's going to blow us all away. I think it's kind of funny that this particular comparison comes up considering the C7 Corvette was compared a lot to Ferrari as far as design styling went. And I've heard a lot of people comparing what they've seen so far out of these renderings with the C8 to a Ferrari as well.
The new mid-engine Corvette. See it? It is like a McLaren. Look. It's like a Ferrari.
As far as I'm concerned, that's not necessarily a bad thing. A lot of people seem to think that the car looking more like a Ferrari or more like an exotic is such a terrible design choice, but honestly, I think the C7 Corvette is one of the nicest Corvettes produced to date, and it has a very similar Ferrari-esque look about it as well. When you can get that same kind of look and feel that you would with an exotic out of an American-made supercar, I think that's a fantastic idea. Like I said in the past, I have not been totally sold on the C8 design that I've seen so far, but I don't think that that's what the final production car is going to look like. Based on how much different that LaFerrari looked before its initial release while they were testing it, I would say that the C8 Corvette we're seeing right now done in renderings and the stuff we're seeing covered up with camo is going to be about 50 to 60% of what that final product is going to look like. There is going to be a lot of different styling on this car, and GM is purposely hiding it so we don't know what we're going to get until July 18th. Now, finally, there is one additional piece of information I wanted to cover here. I don't really like to make these videos based on just speculation alone. And with this LaFerrari comparison, it is kind of still up in the air. But based on previous rumors, things people say have leaked, and stuff previous manufacturers have done, that's my take on the whole thing. But anyway, the next piece of information is going to be the C8 Corvette that had some of its camo wraps pull off, showing a painted A-pillar. This isn't a huge earth-shattering piece of information, but if you look at previous generation Corvettes, the A-pillars have always been black. And with this particular one, it's actually showing a silver painted A-pillar underneath that camo wrap. And in this picture, we can also see a semi-different wheel option as well. So the wheel design is the same as we've seen in the past, but this particular one is completely painted gloss black, or likely carbon flash. I didn't particularly care for the design of the rim prior to seeing it in all black. After seeing it in this picture, that could be an interesting wheel option. In my previous video, I talked about how I didn't really care for any of the wheel options. This one is kind of sticking out as my favorite at this point. One last thing I wanted to discuss was actually something that had been brought up in my previous video, which is the noticeable lack of a Grand Sport option in those leaked specs from that Corvette forum user. He gave us the price of the base model, the Z06, and eventually the ZR1, or the one that may be also called Zora. Noticeably missing, though, was a Grand Sport option. A lot of people were asking me, where's the Grand Sport option? Are we going to get something like that? Honestly, I have heard rumors in the past of this car having a Grand Sport option, but unfortunately at this point, that is all it is rumors. There is no guarantee that any of these leaks are legit, so I could see this car coming out with and without a Grand Sport option. As a lot of you pointed out to me, the Grand Sport was one of the most popular options available for a lot of the Corvettes, so it's unlikely GM would completely cut it out. But at the same time, I know a lot of people complained about the massive amount of options available when ordering a Corvette. It makes it very difficult to nail down exactly the one you want, especially if you're looking for a used one. So I could see GM trying to narrow down their performance models to 3 basic models, your base, the Z06, and the ZR1. Now if they throw in the Grand Sport, that's adding another model, and then a bunch of special editions on top of it, like they did with the C7, with the Carbon 65 edition, the final edition. I can see it being confusing for the end user. Now, with that said, I don't necessarily think GM is going to completely cut out the Grand Sport offering here, but I just wanted to touch on that real quick to let you guys know exactly what my thoughts were on the Grand Sport. I do believe that the user on the Corvette forum that posted this leak is likely spot on with the information. If I had to guess, the Grand Sport was just not listed on the sheet that he was looking at, or not discussed with the person he was talking to. I highly doubt we won't get a Grand Sport option here, but as of right now, there has been no leaked information that could be even remotely verified. That's going to do it for today's video though, guys. If you liked what you saw, give me a big thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to shoot them down in the comments section below, or send me an email, horse.power.obsessed@gmail.com. You can also feel free to hit me up on Instagram, which would be horsepowerobsessed, or even Twitter, HPobsessed_. I'm always looking forward to talking to you guys about this information. And if you have any questions that you don't want to make public, feel free to hit me up on any one of those other platforms. But what do you guys think about the information talked about today? Do you think that Chevy's going to go the same route as the Ferrari did with completely making that car look different on the track just to throw us all off so we have no idea what it will actually look like until the reveal? Let me know what you think down below. What do you think about the Grand Sport offering on this car? Do you think we're going to get one? Why do you think that this information was left out of that leak? Let me know your thoughts down below. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't yet. I'd love to have you as part of the Horsepower Obsessed community. And as always, guys, I'll catch you in the next upload.